The hangar smelled of scorched metal, hydraulic fluid, and ozone. Bright arcs of plasma sparks cut through the dim, industrial light, scattering reflections across the walls like shards of alien glass. Kai crouched over the massive cheetah-like beast, its iron jaw twisted and snarling, refusing to close properly. The creature's crimson eyes, burning with imperial pride and barely contained fury, followed every movement he made. He did not flinch. Humans rarely cowered in the presence of such creatures, even ones that had terrorized entire star systems. Kai's hands moved with precision, feeling the subtle hum of alien alloys beneath his fingers, each groove and dent telling a story of battles fought and won. The air vibrated with tension. Every alien muscle fiber in the beast's body twitched in anticipation, but the human mechanic remained calm. A soft hiss escaped the beast's throat, a warning to anyone else in the room. Princess Zoria observed from the gallery above, her royal robes swirling like liquid starlight. She had expected fear, trembling, maybe even a fatal mistake, but she found herself captivated by the human's confidence. His fingers danced over wires, metal plates, and strange biosynthetic sinews, weaving an intricate tapestry of mechanical salvation. She had thought humans weak, fragile creatures, incapable of surviving the cosmos without alien technology. She had thought their minds too simple to fathom the precision needed to manipulate the iron jaw of an imperial cheetah. But now, the human's calm mastery challenged every assumption she had ever made about the universe. The echo of metal snapping into place reverberated through the hangar, a triumphant chord that seemed to resonate in her chest. Kai stood slowly, wiping sweat from his brow. The beast's head lifted, jaw now perfectly aligned, fangs glinting under the harsh lights. It gave a low, approving growl, a sound that vibrated to the floor and into Princess Zoria's very bones. Her heart raced, not with fear, but with awe. "You did not die," she said softly, almost to herself. Kai glanced up, his eyes meeting hers. There was no arrogance in his gaze, only quiet assurance. "I fix what needs fixing," he said simply, voice steady, even in the face of imperial scrutiny. The princess leaned closer, intrigued despite herself. "Humans are resilient," she admitted, though her tone carried disbelief. Kai only smiled faintly. Resilience had been the only thing keeping humanity alive against the cosmic horrors they had faced for centuries. Beyond the hangar doors, the twin suns of the Zephyr system bled their light across a barren battlefield, where alien scavengers still prowled. They waited for weakness. They had underestimated humanity before. They would regret it again. Kai turned to the beast, murmuring soft commands. The cheetah flexed its muscles, testing its repaired jaw, and then bowed its massive head in a gesture of trust. Zoria's fingers tightened around the railing. This human, fragile in appearance yet unstoppable in execution, could tip the balance of entire conflicts with a single act of courage. She remembered the warnings from her council, the tales of humans who face impossible odds and emerge victorious, stories that always seemed like exaggeration, myth to amuse alien royalty. But now, standing in the same room, watching this mechanic manipulate forces and materials beyond even her understanding, she felt the truth in their legends. The sound of distant engines echoed through the hangar, warning of an approaching fleet. Kai straightened, the faintest trace of a grin on his lips. "Looks like company," he said. The princess swallowed hard. He did not panic. He did not hesitate. He moved toward the weapons bay, already assessing, already calculating. Every step the human took radiated confidence, intelligence, and unpredictability. In a universe where monsters devoured stars and civilizations fell in a blink, humans survived. They adapted. They improvised. They conquered not through sheer numbers, but through ingenuity and courage. Zoria felt a spark of respect and fear ignite inside her. This human could change the course of empires, rewrite the rules of engagement, and survive challenges that would break the strongest alien warriors. The iron jaw of the imperial cheetah was more than repaired. It was a symbol, a warning. The universe underestimated humans at its own peril. Kai glanced at her, a quiet question in his gaze, as if daring her to judge his capabilities. She nodded, almost imperceptibly, and in that moment, an unspoken alliance formed, a fragile trust between the princess of an ancient, powerful race and a human who defied every expectation. Beyond the hangar, shadows of unknown predators crept over the horizon. Ancient machines of war stirred. Stars flickered with strange energy, signaling impossible threats approaching faster than thought. Kai's hands itched for the controls, his mind already racing through strategies and contingencies. He had repaired a beast, but the real fight was only beginning. Zoria's pulse quickened. The human did not look like a warrior. He looked like a simple mechanic. Yet in his actions, he carried the weight of civilizations and the proof that humanity could thrive where gods and monsters fear to tread. And as the first tendrils of alien fire licked the hangar walls, Kai smiled faintly. He thrived in danger. He lived for impossible challenges. He would show the universe why humans survived where empires fell. Sparks rained down like molten rain, sizzling as they struck the steel floor. Kai's eyes narrowed, scanning the encroaching shadows with mechanical precision. He could hear the alien screech of the fleet's drones, their engines a chorus of death singing across the barren planet. Princess Zoria gripped the railing tightly, her knuckles white beneath the silken folds of her royal robes. She had watched fleets annihilate worlds, civilizations crumble under the weight of alien technologies, and yet this human's calm unnerved her in a way no Imperial Guard ever had. Kai moved without hesitation, every step deliberate, his boots clanging against the reinforced steel floor. The cheetah beast, now fully tame and formidable, followed him, muscles coiled like springs ready to explode. Its crimson eyes glinted with deadly intelligence, mirroring Kai's own calm assessment of the battlefield. "The drones are fast but predictable," he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. He crouched near a rack of weaponized tools and alien-modified firearms, his hands already dancing over controls designed for being stronger than humans. Metal hissed, sparks flew, and with each movement, the hangar seemed to bend to his will, a sanctuary amid chaos. Zoria's heart thumped like a drum. She had seen human ingenuity before, yes, but never like this. Even in her royal lineage, where mastery of science and war was second nature, she felt the edge of something extraordinary, something that made her pulse quicken with a mixture of fear and admiration. Kai lifted a small, intricate device, wires snaking like silver snakes across his palms. The alien drones swooped closer, their weapon systems locking onto the hangar with deadly precision. Yet Kai worked unhurriedly, his fingers coaxing the device into alignment, sparks dancing along its surface like controlled lightning. He slid it into the central console, and the entire hangar seemed to hum with anticipation. The cheetah beast roared, a low, resonating sound that shook the rafters and sent a warning to the approaching fleet. Kai turned to it, his eyes meeting the creatures, and in that moment, the unspoken bond between human and beast solidified into something primal, unstoppable, and terrifying to their enemies. The first drone struck, a streak of shimmering light piercing the air. Kai pivoted, pulling a modified plasma cutter from his belt, and in one fluid motion, severed the energy beam midair. Metal screamed under the friction, sparks igniting the dust-filled air. The alien soldiers froze in surprise. Humans did not move like this. Humans did not survive like this. Princess Zoria's eyes widened. The humans were supposed to be weak, fragile, incapable of operating independently in hostile environments. Yet here, standing in the eye of a storm of death, this human moved with an ease that mocked centuries of her own people's training. Kai's voice was calm, but the undertone carried lethal intent. "Stay behind cover," he said to the princess, though she could not tear her eyes away. Every sentence he spoke carried weight, authority, and a promise that no alien force could ignore. The cheetah lunged, muscles rippling under alien-enhanced sinew, and struck the nearest drone with precision that could only be described as elegant brutality. The metallic carcass of the drone fell to the floor with a deafening clang. Kai adjusted a targeting system in his wrist console, redirecting energy fields to create an overlapping shield around them. He worked in perfect harmony with the beast, each movement a symphony of survival, courage, and raw human ingenuity. Zoria leaned forward, the fear in her eyes now mingled with a growing realization. This was not merely a human mechanic. This was a force of nature wrapped in fragile flesh, capable of turning the tide of battles that entire empires had lost. Outside, The alien fleet responded. Ships larger than moons glided into view, their hulls glinting with energy fields that could pulverize mountains. Missiles fired, plasma cannons roared, and a storm of destruction descended upon the barren surface. Kai did not hesitate. He pulled a compact, handheld device from his belt and pressed it to the console. The device whirred, glowing a fierce blue, and in an instant, a network of energy pulses radiated outward, jamming alien sensors and scrambling targeting arrays. The first salvo of enemy fire missed, exploding harmlessly into the rocky terrain. Zoria gasped. Human creativity, resourcefulness, and quick thinking had just outmaneuvered what should have been insurmountable firepower. Kai's fingers flew over the console, recalibrating, rerouting energy, and improvising in ways the aliens had never anticipated. The cheetah's roar echoed, charging forward, taking down a second wave of drones. Kai followed, wielding a plasma blade against mechanical limbs and alien armor, moving with the ferocity and precision of a predator. Every cut, strike, and maneuver demonstrated a mastery of physics, strategy, and raw human courage. Zoria felt a pang of something she had never allowed herself to acknowledge. Awe. Humans did not merely survive. They adapted. They overcame. They turned even the deadliest threats into opportunities for victory. An explosion rocked the hangar, throwing debris into the air. Dust choked her lungs, and the metallic tang of scorched circuits filled her senses. Yet Kai moved unflinchingly, hand steady, mind calculating every variable. He was a human, fragile in form, but unstoppable in capability. Every alien who underestimated him would pay the price. A third drone struck, diving from above, its weapons locked on the princess. Kai pivoted mid-step, catching it with a magnetic harpoon and flinging it into a wall with a force that shattered concrete. The cheetah leapt after the wreckage, jaws clamping down on mechanical limbs, shaking them with devastating strength. Zoria's breath caught in her throat. She had never imagined that a human, a single human, could move through danger with such lethal elegance. Kai turned to her again, voice calm, eyes sharp. "Your fleet underestimated humans," he said. Zoria's throat went dry. She realized that entire civilizations had fallen because they had never understood the unique combination of intellect, courage, and instinct that humans possessed. Here, in this hangar, the legend of humanity came alive before her very eyes. Beyond the hangar, the alien fleet hesitated. Sensors failed, targeting scrambled, and their precision weapons faltered. The humans, with ingenuity and raw determination, had turned the slaughter into a battlefield of opportunity. Kai's mind raced, already plotting the next sequence of defense, offense, and counterattack. Every move calculated, every instinct honed. The cheetah roared, a signal to the human beside it. Kai nodded, activating a series of plasma traps around the perimeter. Alien ships dove, unaware of the lethal web waiting for them. Explosions rippled to the battlefield, fire streaking across the sky like molten veins. Humans did not panic. Humans improvised. Humans prevailed. Zoria felt a strange, almost terrifying admiration. This human had taken a seemingly impossible situation and turned it into proof of humanity's potential. The cheetah's iron jaw gleamed in the flickering light, a symbol not just of mechanical repair, but of trust, courage, and the bond between human and beast. Kai's calm voice cut through the chaos. "We hold this ground," he said. "No one will break through while we are here." Zoria realized the full weight of what she was witnessing. It was more than bravery or skill. It was a testament to humanity's ingenuity, resilience, and refusal to bow to threats, no matter how ancient, powerful, or alien. She had thought humans fragile, insignificant, and weak. Now, she understood their true nature, a force of intelligence, strength, and unpredictability, capable of challenging even the most powerful empires in the galaxy. A shadow moved across the hangar's ceiling, larger and more dangerous than anything they'd faced yet. Kai's eyes narrowed. The air thickened with a strange, almost sentient energy. The ground trembled. Ancient power awakened, sensing humanity's defiance. Yet Kai did not falter. He adjusted his stance, ready for whatever unimaginable threat would descend upon them next. Zoria's pulse raced. This human had not only survived impossible odds, but it had also proven that humanity's uniqueness, its courage, intelligence, and resourcefulness, was unmatched in a universe filled with alien terrors. And now, she realized the universe itself would take notice. The first tendrils of the ancient power reached for the hangar, distorting reality around them. Kai stepped forward, unafraid, eyes locked on the impossible challenge before him. He knew that humans thrive where others fell. He knew that even against the oldest and most dangerous forces, ingenuity and courage could prevail. The cheetah roared in approval, and Kai smiled faintly. "Let's show them what humans can do," he said, voice steady, echoing through the shaking walls. The hangar walls quaked as the tendrils of ancient power snaked closer, their shimmering forms bending light and warping reality itself. Kai's eyes flickered over the disturbance, reading the invisible current of energy like a mechanic reading a circuit board. He did not flinch. He had survived storms that shattered worlds, creatures that consumed suns, and enemies that had long thought humans fragile. This was only another problem to solve. Princess Zoria pressed herself against the railing, her royal composure strained to its limits. She had seen soldiers die on countless battlefields, alien empires collapse under the might of war, and yet none of them had moved through chaos like this human. His calm was infuriating. His precision was terrifying. And somehow, in that quiet confidence, he radiated an energy that made even the cheetah beast hesitate. Sensing the raw strength of a human that defied every expectation, Kai crouched, pulling a small device from his belt. One he had cobbled together from salvaged alien technology and pure human ingenuity. It hummed softly, a faint blue light tracing intricate patterns over its surface. "The energy field isn't just attacking us," he muttered, voice low, calculating. "It is sentient. It adapts. It anticipates. But nothing anticipates humans." The tendrils recoiled slightly, almost as if they recognized the defiance in him. Humans were not predictable. Humans were not controllable. Humans solved the impossible by sheer will and intellect. He adjusted the device, its lights intensifying as the hum grew into a resonant chord that shook the floor. The tendrils quivered. Zoria's breath caught. She had never seen a human tame forces older than most galaxies. And yet, here he was, standing firm, turning chaos into opportunity. The cheetah beast crouched beside him, its iron jaw flexing, claws scraping the reinforced floor. Kai tapped a series of commands into the device, and a pulse of energy rippled outward, striking the tendrils. They writhed, hissing like burning glass, recoiling from the human's ingenuity. This was not brute strength alone. This was intellect, courage, and adaptation distilled into action. Suddenly, a shadow blotted out the twin suns outside. A colossal warship descended, its hull bristling with weaponry and radiating an ancient aura of death. Kai's gaze hardened. Humans had always thrived where others fell, and they would do so again. He moved toward the ship's docking bay, sprinting across the hangar with the cheetah at his side. Metal groaned under the stress of alien fire. Sparks and debris rained down, yet he pressed on, adjusting his path with flawless precision. Zoria followed, mesmerized, knowing that in this human's presence, fear was irrelevant. The colossal ship opened its cargo bay, and alien war beasts spilled forth, their bodies a grotesque mix of organic muscle and weaponized alloy. They charged with a speed that defied comprehension, claws and blades slicing through the air. Kai did not hesitate. He spun a plasma whip, its tip arcing with blue energy, cutting through the first wave of attackers with a hiss of superheated metal. The cheetah leapt, iron jaws snapping around the neck of a monstrous hybrid, shaking it until its armored body shattered like glass. Kai vaulted over debris, rolling into a crouch behind a fallen pillar. He activated his wrist console, redirecting energy to create a temporary force field. Alien claws struck it, sparks flying, but the shield held. Zoria's heart pounded. She realized that humans did not rely on brute force alone. They combined ingenuity, courage, and raw adaptability in ways no alien civilization could anticipate. Kai was not just fighting. He was orchestrating a symphony of survival, turning the hangar into a deadly stage where humans were the only predators the universe could not predict. Another wave of alien drones swept in, faster and smarter than before. Kai's hands moved like lightning, rerouting energy, calculating trajectories, predicting every movement. The drones collided with the force fields, exploding in showers of sparks and molten metal. The cheetah roared, launching itself into the swarm, teeth and claws tearing through alien armor. Zoria felt a strange thrill, terror mixed with admiration. This human was fragile in form but unstoppable in effect. He turned impossible odds into opportunity, defied ancient powers, and faced creatures designed to annihilate entire species. Humans, she realized, were not merely survivors. They were revolutionaries, architects of victory against the impossible. A deep rumble vibrated through the hangar. The colossal warship was landing fully, its gravity fields twisting reality as it pressed down onto the planet. Kai's eyes narrowed. "Time to get creative," he muttered. He pulled a compact drone from his belt, its small frame humming with stored energy. It zipped into the air, weaving through enemy fire, transmitting vital data back to Kai's wrist console. He analyzed it instantly, rerouting power, preparing traps, and predicting enemy behavior before they even moved. Every action displayed a human's unique combination of intelligence, adaptability, and courage. The first wave of alien war beasts lunged at the hangar's reinforced doors. Kai activated a series of explosive charges, calibrated with precision to collapse the doors without harming the cheetah or Zoria. The explosions thundered, metal screamed, and the beasts were trapped momentarily, their momentum working against them. The cheetah leapt into the fray again, tearing apart the trapped creatures, while Kai moved like a conductor directing the chaos around him. Plasma whips, force fields, explosive charges, improvised traps, all orchestrated with the elegance of a master strategist. Zoria's pulse raced. She realized humans thrive in the impossible, turn danger into opportunity, and survive where even most powerful aliens fear to tread. Her respect for Kai transformed into awe. He was not merely a mechanic. He was proof of humanity's genius, courage, and unstoppable will. The colossal warship's gravity field began to destabilize the hangar. Debris floated in midair, creating a deadly maze of twisted metal and sparks. Kai adjusted his footing, his hands already manipulating energy flows, stabilizing the force fields and ensuring the cheetah could move freely. He did not panic. He thrived. A massive tentacle of the ancient energy struck toward him. Kai caught it with a magnetic tether, yanking it into the ceiling with precise force. The tentacle shrieked, reverberating with a sound that rattled Zoria's very bones. Kai's smile was faint but unmistakable. "Nothing humans cannot handle," he said. The cheetah roared, bounding across the anti-gravity debris, jaws snapping around another tentacle, shaking it into submission. The alien forces faltered, realizing too late that humans were unpredictable, unrelenting, and impossible to anticipate. Every calculation, every instinct, every action Kai took turned imminent death into victory. Zoria's mind raced, finally understanding the truth humans had carried across the galaxy for centuries. They were not the strongest, nor the fastest, nor the most technologically advanced. They survived because of their adaptability, intelligence, courage, and audacity. Humans conquered the impossible not with overwhelming force, but with ingenuity, willpower, and unshakable confidence in their own capacity to overcome. The hangar shuddered under another wave of attacks, yet Kai moved with flawless precision. A conductor of chaos, a master of survival. He rerouted power to reinforce the walls, activated plasma traps, and guided the cheetah in a deadly dance of destruction. Aliens fell in droves. Ancient energies recoiled. Humans, fragile yet unstoppable, carved a path of triumph through what should have been an unstoppable apocalypse. Zoria could barely breathe. Her pulse raced not from fear, but from the exhilaration of witnessing a human defy every expectation, challenge the universe, and survive where gods and monsters have failed. Kai glanced at her, eyes calm, voice steady. "Stay close. It is about to get interesting." From the shadows of the hangar, a deeper, darker power stirred. It was older than the warship, older than the fleets, older than the universe's oldest civilizations. Its energy pulsed like a heartbeat, seeking to erase all life in a single sweep. Kai did not hesitate. He adjusted his wrist console, signaling the cheetah to flank, and prepare for the next impossible challenge. The universe itself seemed to lean forward, waiting to see if humanity could survive this ultimate test. Kai smirked faintly. They would learn, as countless others had, that humans did not retreat. Humans did not surrender. Humans thrived where everything else failed. The ancient power surged, warping reality around them. Yet Kai's fingers danced over his controls with lethal precision. The cheetah growled, muscles coiled, ready to strike. And Princess Zoria realized a terrifying, exhilarating truth. The ancient power unfurled itself in the shadows like a living storm. Its presence distorted every surface. Metal bent inward, lights flickered violently, and even the air seemed to ripple under its weight. A low vibration seeped into bones of every living creature in the hangar, a primal warning that something older than galaxies now walked among them. Kai planted his boots firmly on the trembling floor. His breath was steady, his heartbeat controlled, his mind razor-focused as he assessed the unnatural phenomenon. He felt the energy wash over him like freezing water, chilling yet electrifying. It was the kind of presence that swallowed entire civilizations, the kind of threat that demanded absolute submission. Humans never submitted. The cheetah beast crouched low beside him, iron jaw clamped tight, its crimson eyes glaring defiantly into the swirling mass. Its muscles twitched, ready to pounce, yet even this engineered apex predator trembled slightly, sensing an enemy beyond flesh or machine. Princess Zoria gripped a pillar for support. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. This was not a creature. This was not a machine. This was an ancient cosmic intelligence, a remnant of the universe's earliest wars, a being that extinguished suns for warmth and crushed empires as if sweeping dust from its throne. And the human in front of her stared at it with the calm defiance of someone refusing to bow to a living apocalypse. The swirling vortex took shape, an enormous figure composed of energy, shadow, and drifting fragments of reality. Its form flickered between states, never fully solid, never fully light, its voice echoing with layers of time itself. Human, it rumbled, the word vibrating through the walls, shaking bolts loose. You stand in defiance of a force that predates your species. This world is already claimed. Kai wiped plasma dust from his cheek with the back of his hand. His voice was steady, unflinching. You chose the wrong universe if you think humans step aside for anyone. The ancient entity paused. The floor cracked beneath its moving tendrils. Reality warped in a slow, spiraling wave, as though time itself bowed before it. And yet, in the face of that cosmic distortion, Kai moved. Fast, precise, human. He slammed a set of modular power cores onto the floor, each one humming with unstable energy. The cheetah leapt aside as the cores activated, forming a grid of intersecting blue lines across the hangar. Zoria's eyes widened. Kai, those cores are unstable. They will overload. That is the idea. His tone was cool, calculated, dangerously confident. The ancient entity extended a tendril of starfire toward them, an ethereal limb that could tear through dimensions with casual ease. The tendril lashed downward. Kai dodged beneath it with inhuman swiftness, sliding across the floor, sparks flying from his boots. He slammed another core into place, sparks erupting around him, heat rolling off the device in waves. The metal beneath him glowed red, bending under the pressure. The entity hissed, its voice layered with worlds collapsing. You tamper with forces beyond comprehension. Kai stood tall, wiping sweat from his brow. You clearly never met a human engineer. The cheetah roared, launching itself at the entity. Its massive form passed through being, phasing momentarily into freezing shadow, but its iron jaw clamped down on something, an anchor point of condensed energy. The beast twisted violently, and the entire hangar howled as the entity's form distorted. Kai seized the critical moment. He connected the last core. The grid ignited in a blinding sphere of light. Blue-white energy flared, compressing, stacking, merging into a cage of pure human-engineered defiance. The ancient entity thrashed, its form destabilizing, its voice shaking the very stars. Impossible. Human technology cannot bind me. Kai stepped forward, eyes burning with determination. It is not the tech. It is the human behind it. The energy grid tightened like a cosmic vice. The entity screeched, the sound tearing through the air, shredding metal panels from the walls. Zoria shielded her face, her heart pounding. She had never seen anything, absolutely anything, challenge a being of this magnitude. Yet this human stood like a storm given mortal shape. The grid held. The entity slowed. Reality steadied. But Kai felt the pressure building. The cores overloaded faster than predicted. Heat waves shimmered around them. Cracks splintered across the floor, like veins of glowing magma. The cheetah backed toward him, growling. Zoria shouted over the roar of the collapsing hangar. Kai, the grid is destabilizing. It will implode. He nodded once. I know. Zoria stared in disbelief. You planned this? Improvised, he corrected, sparks dancing across his shoulders as an energy surge washed over him. Humans are good at that. The entity writhed inside the cage of fractured reality. It tried to reform, but human-designed energy loops ripped through its structure each time it stabilized. The cage held by sheer audacity, by sheer human will. The cores reached critical mass. The lights flickered. The air sizzled. Kai moved toward a control panel embedded in the floor. He knelt, fingers flying across holographic buttons, calculations streaking across the interface. His mind raced at a speed that could not be taught, only earned through countless battles, failures, and victories. Zoria watched him, breathless, in the flickering light. He looked like a warrior from forgotten myths, a human forging miracles from scraps and defying God with nothing but intellect and courage. Kai, she whispered, voice cracking, if you do this, you will not survive the blast. He did not look up. Humans always survive. The entity shrieked, lashing out in desperation, breaking through one of the energy layers. The hangar tore open, revealing a sky drowning in cosmic storms. Energy bolts screamed downward like falling stars. Kai gritted his teeth, slammed his fist into the final control sequence, and the grid surged. Every core ignited. Pure white light flooded the chamber. The entity convulsed, pulled into a collapsing loop of bent space, compressed down into a point smaller than a grain of dust. And then, silence. A wave of cool air swept through the hangar. The lights flickered back to life. The cosmic storm outside faded into the distant horizon. The world was still. Zoria stumbled forward, eyes wide. Kai? Kai! He stood in the middle of the ruined grid, chest heaving, hands trembling slightly but still alive. The cheetah nudged him, its iron jaw humming with residual energy. Kai winced but smiled faintly. See, he said quietly. Humans always find a way. Zoria's breath shuddered. She looked at him as if seeing the entire human race through his eyes for the first time. Not weak, not fragile, not insignificant, but powerful, resilient, unpredictable, and absolutely unstoppable. Before she could speak, a deep hum resonated from the sky. Kai turned slowly, eyes narrowing. Far above the ruined hangar, a massive tear in space formed. Not the ancient entity returning, but something worse. Something drawn here by the energy release. Something hunting unimaginable power. A fleet, dark, silent, armored in materials no empire had ever identified. Zoria's blood ran cold. It is the Void Imperium. Kai exhaled slowly, rolling his shoulders despite the burns and bruises spreading across his skin. Well, he grabbed his plasma cutter. Looks like we get to impress another enemy. The cheetah growled. Zoria's pulse spiked. The sky cracked open with incoming invaders. Kai stepped forward, fearless, determined, human. Round 2, he whispered. This time we hit first. The throne room fell silent, not because the Imperial guards backed away, not because Princess Zyrala lowered her shimmering glaive, but because every creature in the chamber felt the vibration rolling off Karos like a living storm, a vibration born from the human who stood beside him, a vibration born from an impossible act, from a mechanic who had just stared down an Imperial predator and rebuilt its iron jaw with his bare mortal hands. Reese breathed slowly, deliberately, as Karos prowled at his side. The cheetah beast's repaired metal mandibles glowed faintly with golden power, each tooth reflecting the torchlight like sharpened suns. And for a heartbeat, Reese felt something new, something electric, pulsed through his body. A bond, a link, a beast forged for war, but choosing him, choosing a human. The guards realized it at the same moment he did. Their weapons rose. Their armor clattered. Princess Zyrala's eyes widened in disbelief. The Imperial cheetah beast was considered unbondable, untamable. Its loyalty was locked by genetics, ritual, and centuries of tradition. It bowed only to the royal family. Yet Karos lowered its massive head to Reese. The princess whispered through clenched teeth, "Impossible." Reese exhaled. "I fix things." His calm words echoed across the marble floor. "I do not break them. If you want to understand what happened, then stop pointing weapons at me." The silence thickened. Then the beast moved, not toward Reese, but toward the guard captain. With a growling roar, Karos pounced. Metal claws tore through the floor, not through flesh, but landing a breath away from the captain's trembling legs. A warning thud that cracked the marble tiles like eggshells. The message was unmistakable. "Touch Reese, and you answer to me." Zyrala stepped forward, eyes glowing a fierce violet. "Karos, stand down." But the beast did not obey. It growled again, lower, deeper, vibrating the air itself, and shifted its massive frame to shield Reese completely. Reese's heartbeat thundered in his ears. Metal, warm fur, a predator's breath mixing with his own. If the princess declared him a threat, this creature would kill for him. The throne room guards hesitated, unsure if they should attack or retreat. Sweat rolled down faces. Fingers shook on triggers. Then, slowly, deliberately, Zyrala raised her open hand, a command for her soldiers to halt. The room froze. Her voice was steady, but inside it trembled like cracking ice. "You, human mechanic." She walked down from the steps of her throne, cloak trailing behind her like a shadow. "Say your name." "Reese Calder," he answered. "Reese Calder," she repeated softly, tasting the name as if testing its edges. "I misjudged you." "No offense," Reese murmured. "Everyone does." Her expression darkened. "This is no joke, human. You have done something that no warrior, no psychic, no royal heir has ever achieved. Karos has chosen you." Reese touched the beast's head cautiously. Karos purred, a thunder's metallic rumble that vibrated through the tiles. "I just repaired him," Reese said. "And in doing so," she replied, "you repaired something deeper, something ancient, something we believed dead." Her eyes locked onto his. "You awakened a bond that should not be possible." Reese swallowed hard. "What bond?" Zyrala's gaze drifted to the beast. Imperial legends tell of a rare connection, a resonance between a warrior and a beast of the core bloodlines. It has not been seen for 1,000 years. She paused. "And it has never occurred with a human." Reese felt the weight of the words press against him. He felt the beast's presence, its breath, its pressure, its energy. He felt alive. Too alive, as if the air around him were vibrating with something wild and powerful. Zyrala stepped closer until she stood just a few feet away. "Explain to me how you repaired his jaw with tools that should never have worked on our technology." Reese blinked. "I adapt." "Adapt?" He nodded. "Humans solve problems. We improvise. We adjust. We build with what we have." Zyrala whispered the word, as if reading it for the first time. "Adapt." Her eyes flickered. A strange admiration glimmered beneath her suspicion, but it did not last, because a booming alarm shattered the room. A deep, oscillating pulse. The sound of disaster. The sound of invasion. Red lights cut across the high crystalline windows. The air rippled with telepathic static as the palace security grid surged to life. Zyrala spun toward the towering doors. No, this timing is too sudden." A communications officer sprinted into the chamber, gasping for breath. "Princess, a breach at the orbital barrier." Zyrala froze. Who dares breach Imperial space? The answer came in a trembling whisper. "The Void Reavers." A chill stabbed the air. Even Karos snarled, its fur bristling, tail lashing, metal jaw clenching with electric fury. Reese's skin prickled. He had heard the name whispered in repaired docks and mining stations. The Void Reavers, ancient marauders, hunters of worlds, butchers of civilizations, predators that even empires feared. The officers swallowed fearfully. They tore through our first defense ring. Their battleships are descending. How fast? Zyrala demanded. Minutes. The room erupted into chaos. Orders, soldiers, panic. But amid the storm, Zyrala's gaze snapped toward Reese again. You, she said sharply. The human. Reese stiffened. You will come with me. Before he could respond, Carols nudged him a massive iron skull, urging him forward. Reese frowned. Why me? I am just a mechanic. No, she said. After what you did today, you are something more. What do you think I can do against an invasion fleet? Zyrala leaned close. Her voice dropped to a fierce whisper. You repaired Carols' iron jaw without knowledge of our schematics, without access to Imperial forging protocols, without a plasma foundry or a nanite sealant. Reese stepped back. So, she said, her voice trembling with a strange mix of fear and awe. Our ancient war engines, the ones buried beneath the palace, use the same technology. Reese stared blankly. I still do not understand. She spoke the next word slowly, carefully. We have war constructs older than our empire, machines forged during the Great Purge, machines that no living engineer has managed to activate. Her eyes burned brighter. And if your mind can understand Carols' technology, then you might understand them too. Reese felt the world shift around him. Machines older than empires. Technology nobody could repair. And now they wanted him to touch it. Princess, I am not a hero, he whispered. But humans, she said, never believe they are until the universe forces them to be. A deep tremor shook the palace. Dust drifted from the ceilings. A low roar thundered across the walls like a god screaming. The Void Reavers had begun their bombardment. Zyrala extended her hand. Carols has chosen you. Now choose for yourself. Reese felt the beast press its warm, heavy head against his shoulder. He breathed once. Twice. He stepped toward her. Fine, he said quietly. Show me the machines. Zyrala nodded. Prepare yourself, she warned. If the legends are true, you are about to rewrite fate. The ground rumbled again. The universe burned outside, and a human mechanic walked toward the heart of a forgotten power, not because he was fearless, but because fear had never stopped humanity. The palace trembled as Reese followed Princess Zyrala into the depths. Each step echoed like they were descending into the stomach of a sleeping titan. Carols padded beside him, metal claws ticking softly against the ancient alloy floors, every movement protective, alert, and ready to strike. The air grew colder. The light dimmed. The torches were replaced by pulsing crystals embedded in the walls, glowing with a deep amber flame that seemed alive. Breathing, whispering, watching. Reese exhaled slowly. Your palace basements are unsettling. Zyrala did not look back. They were not built by my ancestors. That sentence landed like cold water. The hallway widened into a spiraling metallic cavern lined with runes Reese could not read. Symbols curved like spirals, intersecting with razor-sharp corners. They had weight to them, a presence like they were alive. Then who built this? Reese asked. Zyrala's voice lowered. A civilization that died long before empire rose. We call them the Forgeborn. Reese frowned. That sounds like a myth. Zyrala snapped her head toward him, violet eyes blazing. It is not a myth, human. They created weapons that tore apart star systems. They built armies of machines that slaughtered gods. And they vanished without a trace. Her voice softened. All that remains are their engines and their warnings. They reached a colossal gate carved from a solid slab of obsidian metal. Its shape was too perfect, too smooth, as if time refused to touch it. Zyrala placed her palm on its surface. The metal rippled like liquid. A deep hum reverberated through the chamber. The gate opened. Reese stepped forward and froze. The chamber beyond was not a room. It was a cathedral built for giants. Tall pillars carved with swirling runes supported a ceiling that disappeared into darkness. Chains thicker than tree trunks hung from massive mechanical spines overhead. Huge metal sarcophagi lined the walls, each containing a war machine frozen in eternal sleep. In the center of the cathedral sat a single construct, not the largest, not the most threatening, but the most alive, a humanoid figure 3 stories tall, armored in overlapping plates of obsidian metal. Its chest was cracked open, exposing a core of swirling energy. Its face was a mask of split iron and dormant light. It was beautiful, terrifying, ancient. "Behold," Zyrala whispered, her voice echoing. "One of the last Forge-born war sentinels." Reese's throat tightened. What happened to it? No one knows. Its power faded long ago. Every engineer of the Empire tried to repair it. Every attempt ended in failure. The circuitry is older than anything we understand. Her gaze fell on Reese. "But you repaired Karos." Reese shook his head. "That was different. I felt how his systems wanted to function. They told me what was wrong." Zyrala raised a brow. "Told you?" Reese paused. He had not realized what he said, but it was true. Karos' machinery had felt like a puzzle speaking through vibrations, magnetics, and energy pulses, a language without words but full of intent. Karos nudged him gently, as if affirming the thought. Reese stepped closer to the ancient sentinel. Heat pulsed gently from the cracked core. A soft vibration thrummed beneath the metal. Faint patterns of energy swirled, like a heartbeat trying to return. Reese lifted his hand. His fingertips hovered inches from the exposed core. And then a shock wave ripped through him. Not physical, mental. The chamber dissolved in light. Reese gasped as visions exploded across his mind. Colossal armies marching under twin suns. Worlds burning under beams of impossible energy. Forge-born war sentinels tearing apart cosmic monstrosities. Rifts cracking open across galaxies. And then a singular vision. A human figure. Standing alone. Facing an army of darkness. The light snapped back. Reese stumbled, gripping his chest. Zyrala grabbed his shoulder. "What happened? Speak, human!" He breathed sharply. I saw things." "Visions?" "Yes." She stiffened. Only those with resonance can receive forge-born memory echoes. Reese frowned. "What is resonance?" Zyrala hesitated, then spoke quietly. An alignment between a living being and ancient machinery. It was believed extinct. Reese stared at the sentinel. "Why me?" Zyrala whispered the answer. "Because humans are unpredictable. Because your minds adapt to survive what others cannot. Because your species is too stubborn to die." Another tremor shook the chamber. Distant explosions echoed from above. The Void Reavers were drawing closer. Zyrala turned toward Reese with urgency. "If there's even a chance you can activate the Sentinel, you must try." Reese stared deeper into the war machine's cracked chest. He inhaled slowly, then placed his hand onto the core. The reaction was immediate. The core blazed with white light. The ground shook violently. Energy surged through the chamber and roared upward like a storm of fire. Ancient runes ignited along the pillars. Chains snapped taut. Metal sarcophagi trembled. The air tore open with vibrating power. The sentinel's eyes flickered. Once, twice, a third time. Then they ignited fully, blazing like twin stars. Zyrala stepped back in awe. "You did it!" Reese felt sweat pour down his back. "No, I just woke it up." The sentinel's head turned. A slow, thunderous motion. Its gaze fell on him. And then it bowed its massive head. Karos roared in approval. Zyrala whispered in disbelief. "The war machine kneels to you." Reese swallowed hard. "Now what?" A monstrous explosion shattered the far wall. Black smoke billowed in. Screams echoed. And something enormous crawled through the breach. A Void Reaver. It was a grotesque fusion of bone, metal, and writhing tendrils. Its skull-like face split open, revealing layered, circular jaws. Its limbs were reversed, jointed wrong, ending in blades that dripped void energy. It screeched. The sound shredded the air like claws against the universe itself. Zyrala drew her glaive. Karos braced, metal jaws snapping with lightning. Reese stepped in front of them all. The sentinel moved. A blast of pure white energy erupted from its chest, striking the Void Reaver mid-scream. The creature slammed into the far wall, carving a crater through solid metal. It howled, then lunged. The sentinel took a single step forward, each footfall a thunderclap. Its arm transformed, plates shifting, reconfiguring, into a glowing cannon of swirling energy. Another blast. This one obliterated the creature entirely. Silence. Dust settled slowly. The hole in the wall glowed with molten metal. Reese stared in shock. Zyrala stared at him. Karos nudged his leg again, proud. Zyrala approached him slowly, voice trembling. Reese called her. You are no simple mechanic. He exhaled. Never said I was. She looked at the glowing war sentinel, now standing like a guardian awaiting orders. Her voice softened. You just changed the fate of this empire. Reese wiped sweat from his brow. I think this is only the beginning. Another explosion echoed from above. The Void Reavers were still coming. Zyrala turned to him. Then we shall finish this beginning together. Reese nodded. Karos roared. The sentinel stepped behind them like a towering shadow. The sky above the Imperial capital blazed with streaks of fire as Void Reaver ships descended like falling moons. Their hulls split open into jagged ribs that poured creatures onto the city, screeching horrors of bone, metal, and hunger. The palace trembled from the bombardment, each shockwave rattling ancient foundations that had never known defeat. But deep beneath it, in the forge-born cathedral of forgotten gods, a human mechanic stood between extinction and survival. Reese Calder wiped dust from his face as the war sentinel took its place behind him, towering like a reborn titan with its eyes blazing through the gloom. Karos prowled at Reese's side, muscles rippling, iron jaw humming with power. The bond between them throbbed like a heartbeat, stronger than steel. Princess Zyrala stood across from him, her glaive shimmering with violet fire. Her voice was steady, but her eyes trembled with the weight of destiny. Reese called her. The enemy breaches every line. The palace shields will fall within minutes. Reese tightened his jaw. Then we do not let them fall. Zyrala's gaze softened. Human, she whispered, are you certain? What you intend may kill you. Reese looked up at the sentinel's glowing core. Forge-born technology responds to resonance. The visions the sentinel showed me, they were not memories. He swallowed. They were instructions. Zyrala's breath caught. You intend to merge with it. Reese nodded. No pilot, no neural chair. It was built to sync directly with someone who can speak its language. And you believe you can? Reese stared at the swirling core, feeling its ancient pulse beat in rhythm with his own. I believe humanity survives by doing the impossible. We always have. He placed one hand flat against the war sentinel's chest. The core flared bright. Karos growled in protest. Sensing the danger, Zyrala stepped closer. Reese, listen. If you merge with that machine, it may consume you, mind and body. There are no records of survival. Reese smiled faintly. You said it yourself. Humans adapt. Zyrala stared at him, not as a princess, not as royalty, but as someone watching a miracle step into fire. Then do it, she whispered. For the Empire. For everyone, Reese answered. He took a breath, then another, then stepped into the light. The world exploded around him. He felt heat, cold, pressure, weightlessness. He felt the metal of the sentinel's body closing around him like a cocoon of living starfire. He felt its circuits weaving into his nerves like threads of lightning. He felt his heartbeat synchronize with its core. Then something deeper, a roar of ancient intelligence. A pulse of memory older than suns. A voice that was not words, but emotion, recognition. You are the one. Reese cried out as energy surged through him. His flesh dissolved into raw sensation. His thoughts flooded through conduits older than time. He became movement. He became metal. He became the war sentinel. And the sentinel became him. A bond not of programming or control, but of will, of choice, of humanity. The cocoon shattered, and a new titan stepped from the forge-born cradle. Its body reshaped by the merge, its armor now streaked with silver lines that pulsed with human heartbeat. Zyrala fell back, breath stolen from her lungs. "Reese, can you hear me?" The Titan lowered its head. A voice echoed from within, deeper yet unmistakably human. "I am here." Carol's roared triumphantly. The floor shook from above. Reavers were breaking through. Reese raised his arm. Energy coils spiraled open. Light charged. "Time to go," he said. The battlefield above was a nightmare. The palace courtyard was split open. Guards dragged into the sky by Reavers with screaming tendrils. Towers burned. Streets shattered. Thunder from dying ships rained debris over the capital. A Reaver war beast, towering and bloated with void flesh, slammed to the outer gates, roaring. But everyone froze when a shadow fell across the smoking battlefield. A giant silhouette rose from the earth, ascending through the molten breach in the floor. The Titan's eyes flared white. The battlefield erupted in whispers. "What is that? Is it a god?" "No, it cannot be." Zyrala stepped forward, voice ringing across the carnage like a clarion horn. "It is human." The Reaver war beast charged. Reese met it head-on. Two Titans collided. Shockwaves cracked the palace pillars. Stone split. Metal bled sparks. The Reaver's claws carved across Reese's armor, screeching in molten arcs, sending shards flying. Pain shot through the merged neural link. Sharp, electric, but distant. Reese pushed harder, fought harder. The Sentinel's arm shifted into a glowing blade. He swung. The blade cleaved through void flesh and bone, cutting the beast down in a single burning arc. The courtyard lit up in white fire. Carros leapt from the rubble, tearing into another creature with feral joy only a bonded beast could wield. The guards rallied behind Zyrala. For the princess. For the Empire. For the human mechanic. Reese turned his blazing eyes toward the sky. The largest Reaver ship descended, its hull splitting open like a monstrous chrysalis, dripping with void corruption. It aimed its maw cannon at the palace. Zyrala screamed, "Move!" Reese leapt. The ground cracked. Stone shattered. Air boomed. He soared upward, propelled by thrusters that screamed like a reborn star. The Reaver ship fired. A beam of void energy tore through the atmosphere. Reese raised his arms. The Sentinel's chest core exploded outward in a shield of blinding white light. The void beam struck the shield. The world turned into thunder. The shockwave flattened the palace courtyard. Flames spiraled into the sky. Soldiers were knocked to their knees. Reese cried out as the energy tore through him, searing, crushing, consuming. But he held. For the Empire, for Zyrala, for everyone who could not. The shield shattered. Reese roared and shot forward, slamming into the Reaver ship's exposed maw. He tore through its hull, ripping out void tendrils and living machinery, ripping apart the corruption at its core. The ship writhed like a dying beast, shrieking. And Reese detonated his entire energy reserve point blank. A sun ignited in the sky. The Reaver ship disintegrated. Light washed over the city like divine fire. Reese fell through smoke, flame, and debris. His Titan form cracked and burning. His consciousness flickered. His senses dimmed. But he had one thought left. "I hope they survive." He crashed into the courtyard with a thunderous impact that split marble and earth. Silence. Smoke. Embers. Zyrala ran forward, screaming his name. "Reese! Reese!" The Sentinel lay broken, half buried, its armor shattered, its core dim. Carros limped to the remains, whining, nudging the fallen Titan with desperate growls. Zyrala climbed onto the cracked chest plate. She placed trembling hands against the cold metal. "Please," she whispered, "do not leave us." A faint glow flickered beneath the armor. Very small, barely there, but alive. The chest armor shifted, split open, and a small form slid out, covered in ash and scorching dust. Reese lay there, barely conscious, breath trembling, alive. Zyrala fell to her knees, tears shining like molten crystal. "You stubborn, impossible, reckless human." He coughed. "You forgot one more thing." She leaned close, voice breaking. "What?" Reese managed a faint, tired grin. "Humans do not die when the universe expects us to." She laughed, half sob, half joy, and pulled him into her arms. Cheers rose around them as the Imperial guards lifted their weapons in triumph. Karos bowed his metallic head, placing it gently beside Rhys like a loyal guardian. The fires burned lower. The smoke thinned. The sky cleared. And the throne world survived. Days later, after reconstruction began, and the dead were honored, Rhys stood on a restored balcony overlooking the glowing city. Karos rested beside him, healed, his iron jaw shimmering proudly. Zyrala approached. "You should rest," she said gently. Rhys shrugged. "I have slept 3 days." She smiled. "A human miracle. Again." Rhys gazed at the sunrise. "So it is over?" "For now," she said. "Void Reavers never vanish entirely. But thanks to you, they fear this world now." Rhys nodded. Silence stretched warm between them. Zyrala finally spoke softly. "You change more than the Empire," Rhys called her. He raised an eyebrow. "Oh, you change me." He blinked. She took his hand. And for a moment, the universe felt quiet. Safe. Alive. "The Empire will tell stories of this," she whispered. "The mechanic who woke the gods of iron. The human who fought the void with his bare will." Rhys smiled. "Just doing my job." Zyrala squeezed his hand harder. "You saved us all." He looked at her. At Karos. At the rebuilt city. At the horizon burning with new hope. "Then let us keep saving," he said. "Together." And as the sun rose over the reborn empire, Rhys called her. The human mechanic who tamed beasts, woke ancient titans, fought cosmic nightmares, and defied extinction, stepped forward into a future forged by courage. A future only humanity could ignite. A future worth fighting for.